Hi painters, I'm back again with Pears and Bears, and I want to show you how to finish up this crock I started last time. I've done a little bit of cleanup. I went ahead and I put my glasses on and finished up the lip or the rim of the crock, and I cleaned up any little fuzzies that I had. I added a little bit of dark shadow under the crock down in here. I cleaned up the pear a little bit where I had made some fuzzies, but I'll probably have to clean that up again after I finish the crock. So it already looks a little bit better just getting cleaned up like that. Now I want to smooth it out and maybe even add a little bit of tint to it. So the next thing I want to show you is a process that I call searching. It's just a silly word that I made up to try to explain what it was I'm doing. And searching means that you're going to be using a dry rubbing method. Remember, for dry rubbing, you load up your brush and you, with the color that you're going to use, you stipple it all into your brush, and then on your cloth you stipple it out and you blot it, and then you're going to stipple until you have stippled out a lot of the paint, and then you switch to a dry rub. Well, for searching, we're not going to stipple. We're going to blot the brush enough and blot it again so that it's as though we had already stippled with it. So now we have a brush that's very, very dry, and it puts down very little bit of paint. So searching means that we're going to look around for places where we need that color. But we're not going to look here and then look here and here and here and here. We're going to look here, and we're going to keep our feet on the ground as we go to the next place, and we're going to look for another place where we want that color. When we get there, we're going to press a little harder. You can turn the brush over, stay there a little longer, deposit the color that you want, and then continue searching for another place for that color. And you stay on your feet, keep your brush down on the surface so that as you go along you deposit this very, very, very thin film of color. This is what's going to blend with the other value. Like, for instance, if you had a light value and you would search then with a dark value, then you'd get medium values in here. The one main thing to remember is that if you put your brush down and you can immediately see color, then you have too much paint in your brush. You should have to work for that color. You should have to stay there a little bit longer or use a little bit more pressure to create color. If not, then you need to blot your brush. So let's see how this goes on the crock. I'm going to use my light value. I'll load it in my brush, stipple it in, blot it out. And because I'm in the light area, I can stipple a little bit just to make sure that I don't have too much on my brush. Also, I have the same color on my brush as what I have here, so I can do a little bit of stippling, and I can make that area a little bit brighter. And then I'm just going to lay the brush down. Remember that in your video it doesn't look like my brush is laying down very much, but it is. I've moved back on the handle. My fingers are way back here. They're not up here. They're back behind the fat part of the handle, and I'm rubbing gently with my light color, my light value, even into some of the dark area. Remember that light and dark makes medium. So wherever we want to see a medium value, we can do a little bit of dry rubbing. Then we're going to wash the brush, and I'll pick up my dark value. I'll work that into the brush, blot it out, and I'm going to dry rub with my dark. I'm going to start where I want that color to be the most intense, and I'm going to dry rub into and over some of the light value that I dry rubbed. Notice I'm not picking my brush up. The only time I do is when I'm going to turn it over to the other side. So I'm going to leave my brush down on the surface, only picking it up when I turn it over. Otherwise you get little polka dots of color, and what you want is nice smooth color. So here I am putting a little more dark in and blotting it out so that I can dry rub and create a medium value. Okay, now just for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to do one more time. I'll pick up my light value, put that in the brush and blot it out, and I'm going to come right back into my light area and stretch that over the dark one more time. Now you can do this as many times as it takes. Sometimes you have to do it 4 or 5 or 6 times before you really get a nice blend. But this is how I would finish off something that I had pat blended, or even a smooshing or a stippling. This searching process with the dry rubbing technique is very, very helpful to create medium values and also to create smoothness. One more little thing that I'll add to this crock, as far as just the building of the crock. I'm still going to decorate it, and I'll show the decoration on it next time. But I want to put just a little bit of a tint on there. Sometimes things are a lot more interesting if they're not just one color. Also, it looks as though this little shelf is in a red room, so we might have a little bit of red reflection. So I'm going to pick up some of my red value. I've got magic mix on my brush, and I'm going to do a magic float. So I've got the magic mix on my brush, I've got the paint on the tip of the brush, and I'm just going to lay this in wherever I think I want to create a little bit of a red reflection. Maybe the ribbon would be reflecting on the crock, and it doesn't have to be a specific reflection. It can be just a little point of interest. But the way that you do it is with that magic mix in your brush, the paint is on the tip of the brush, and you put the color down with the tip of the brush, then you sit back on the brush and rub it around with the heel with that magic float. So that will finish off the main surface painting of the crock, and then I'll be ready to do my decorating. I think what I'm going to do on this one, I'll put maybe a little blue stripe across here, and I think I'll make this a honey pot. So then I'll write the word honey here, and you'll see that next time, as well as my next technique that I want to show you. Until then, paint happy. Bye bye.